I see you have made it to the 7th episode of Terrifying Tuesdays. Good. Today we have a special guest, Corpse Husband, and he will be narrating your stories.
Number 5. My name is Genevieve, and this happened when I was around 13 or 14. I have been living in my mother's boyfriend's house for about 7 years with my younger brother and my mom and her boyfriend's parents. Around the year 2008, my mother's boyfriend's father passed away, and from what I can recall, he wasn't very well liked by my mother. I was around 8 or 9 when he passed away in the house. My brother was home when it happened. Anyway, I can recall a few weird things happening living at the house, but nothing too drastic. But what happened to me, I almost never wanted to step back in my room again, even though it was my safe place. So it was late at night, and we were renovating my room, so my mattress was on the floor because we were buying a new frame. So I was on the floor and I began to relax my eyes, so I shut them, and let me mind you, all my lights were off. I shut my eyes and a few seconds goes by, and then I opened them, and leaning over me, I'm still having a hard time writing this, was this black figure, so black I could make it out in the darkness. I saw a head and shoulders, but it was darker than the night. No features, just black. I thought it was my brother, so I even swatted at it, and when I realized nobody was there, my heart was in my throat and my eyes began to water. I was so scared and almost paralyzed because I realized what had just happened. I jumped up and turned the light on and remember vividly looking around. I honest to God thought it was my brother. I even called out his name, Kevin, and no response. My room is the smallest in the house and it's cozy, but I knew what I saw that night was no creature from Earth, or at least living. I slept in the bathtub that night and I haven't seen anything since, as I still sleep in that room to this day. Number 4. A few years ago I went to an alternative school in a town called Broman. I currently live in Scottsville, Michigan. There were 6 other people that went to the school besides me, 2 of them being very close friends. We had a fundraiser so that we could go to Great Wolf Lodge in Traverse City. We got there early in the day, hung out in the water park, and went back to the room. Around 1 o'clock in the morning, we decided to go walk around the hotel. It was a fairly big place with a lot of kinked hallways so you couldn't see from one end to the other. We messed around, rode luggage carts down the halls, and even knocked on doors. Then, we decided to go down the elevator to the 3rd floor. There was a room with vending machines before we walked around the corner. Once we turned the corner and walked down far enough down the hallways to see the other side, we saw a woman standing there facing the main room. She had snow-white skin, blonde hair, and was wearing a staff uniform. We knew it couldn't be staff because they don't walk around this late. We sat there and stared for a second. My friend Anthony said, "Who is that?" As he finished his sentence, it turned around in a blur. It had no face, but the structure was still there. Then it started walking towards us, but it was moving at speed as if it was jogging. What made it even scarier is that it made no sound at all. We all freaked out and started running back to the elevator, and we hid in the room with the vending machines. We waited for it to come around the corner, but it never did. We went back to the room and ended up staying up all night. Once it opened up again and all the staff was there, I asked the lady at the desk to talk to the manager. Once I sat down with him, I asked him about the woman. He said he'd never hired someone that looked like that in his life. I've never been back since. Number 3. This happened last year. I'm attending college and waitressing part-time. A man from a military college in the same town came into the restaurant every Saturday and always requested my section. He never said much, but stared at me the entire time. According to my coworkers, if I wasn't working that night, he would just storm out. I would ride my bike around campus into work, and I started finding notes in my basket. Some would say, "Have a nice day," or "You're beautiful." I had a feeling I knew who it was. One night, I hear a knock at the door, and my roommate went to go get it. She said a guy is at the door asking for me. I tell him I'm about to go to bed, and I attempt to shut the door. He props his foot against the door and said he didn't accept rejection. My roommate immediately calls the cops. At his school, everyone thought I was his girlfriend because that's what he told them. His room had a number of pictures of me. He would also track my bike to see where I live. It's not that crazy, but it made me almost shit myself. Remember, he doesn't accept rejection. Number 2. Hi, my name is Keegan and I'm 15 years old. This is a story how I saw a ghost, later to be revealed that our house is haunted. It all started when I was young. I had a friend over and we were in the basement playing on our computer. We were both small enough to fit in one big chair. We had the lights turned all the way off and the only thing you could see was the computer monitor. It looked as if we were on a stage and a spotlight was shined right on us, and we could not see anything behind the monitor. We were playing a game on a website when the game we played randomly stopped working. I heard a faint whisper. I figured it was my friend right beside me talking, so I turned and looked at him, and as I did, I noticed a figure in the distance. From what I recall, it was a little girl with long hair down to her chest. Although I could not tell exactly what she looked like because I was staring at a computer monitor for a while, but I could definitely tell it was a little girl. I have 2 sisters, but they are a lot older than me and they were out of the house at the time. I was in shock when I saw the ghostly figure and I turned back and immediately clicked the X on our browser and shut the game off. My friend looked at me as if I was crazy and asked me what I was doing. I pushed the chair away from the desk that my friend and I were in and I ran upstairs screaming. That night it was hard to tell my friend and my parents what I saw because I was a kid and kids sometimes have wild imaginations. Let's just say it was hard for me to sleep the next couple of nights. After a few years, when I got older, my sisters bought a Ouija board and used it one night. Later the next day, they told me what they had found out from the Ouija board. They said there was a girl in our house named Amy. She is young, about my age. All I could think of was that one night when I saw the ghost. I then said to my sisters, "Don't worry, I met her before you did," and then I left the room. Number 1. As a child, I would often sleepwalk at night. I remember many times waking up in the living room or in the guest bedroom of my childhood home. One night, when I was 10 years old, I woke up sitting in the dining room at the table. Because this was not one of my usual spots to wake up in, I had no idea where I was. As I started looking around to try and figure out where I was, I saw 2 silhouettes standing in front of the sliding glass door leading into our backyard. It was a very bright night and the moonlight between these figures was bright enough to completely black them out. All I saw was them just standing there, looking at me, I assumed. These figures looked very much like the shadows of a human, but the hands were very large and the fingers just as long, coming to a sharp point. One of the figures lifts its hand and points at me, who is still sitting there completely silent, not sure what is going on. It opens its hand, facing its palm towards me. Again, the light from behind the figure was too bright, so all I could see was silhouettes. Then I hear in the most terrifying sound, a voice say, "It's not time yet. Go back to sleep." At this point, I am fully awake and still more confused at what is going on rather than scared. I turn my head towards the stairs looking up to my parents' bedroom. I call out for them several times, but I get no reply. When I turn back to look at the patio door, the 2 figures are gone. I run up to my parents' bedroom and start screaming and telling them what I saw. Of course, hearing a 10-year-old kid say he saw 2 monsters in the middle of the night is a common thing, so my parents just wave it off and send me back to bed. That was the very last time I ever sleepwalked. A few months after the event, I had a dream. I saw the same hand I saw that night. The long, sharp fingers on a huge hand appeared very far away. On the palm of the hand is a mouth, wide open and screaming at me. As the screaming got louder, I woke up. Every couple months to this day, I still have this dream. The only difference is the hand is getting closer to my face every time. I am now 27 years old and the hand is virtually right in front of my face when I wake up from the screams. I do mark down when I have these dreams, and the last one was June 3rd, 2015. On average, these dreams happen somewhere between 2 to 3 months since the last. I have had to go to therapy throughout my high school years relating to that night I had when I was 10 and subsequent dreams that have happened ever since then. Not knowing what will happen when the hand finally reaches my face in my dreams terrifies me every day. I know what I saw when I was 10, and I remember every detail like it just happened. Hopefully someday I will know the answer to why this has haunted me for most of my life, and I will finally have peace.
Click on the screen or in the description box for the link to his channel, and don't forget to subscribe to us.